Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sparing your time with us today. I sincerely hope that all of you are well alongside your family and loved ones. So, for this morning, you will be spending about your half an hour with me, Abdul Haq, your system consultant. So, let's begin with our main agenda today, which is to introduce the new version of our system, which is now currently on its third version. The system will now move on to its new phase, which is our new user interface, to revamp and refresh the looks alongside additional features that will be enjoyed by the users. We will first start with the objective of this presentation, followed with the expected outcome, and then proceed to the new system walkthrough. So we begin with the first objective of the presentation. The first objective is to brief users to clear cache on their devices. This is to ensure the device is fit and ready to receive the new updates. And then we will move on to see an overview of the system for us to familiarize the system usage and the system interface. And we will then perform a sample tender submission. At the end of the presentation, users are expected to be able to perform the clear cache function to prepare their devices to receive the new updates. And lastly, the users are expected to familiarize themselves with the system based on the system walkthrough that we will conduct later. So let's begin. An email from BuildSpace will be sent out once the updates are ready to be received by the user. The updates are expected to be rolled out by mid of June. So to prepare the device for these updates, we are required to conduct an action called cache clearing. We begin with the cache clearing process. So let's go to take a look at the typical browser. Take, for example, Google Chrome in this instance. So we go to Google Chrome and then we select the three buttons on the top right corner over here. And then go to the history, click on history. Alternatively, we can push Ctrl H on our keyboard. So now we take a look at the left hand side over here, the clear browsing data button. So click on this button. Then we will be greeted with this new windows, pop-up windows over here. So please take on the cookies and other site data and also cache image and files. Download history is optional to wipe, or we can leave it without untick like this. So please also take a look at the time range and set the time range to all time like so, and then click on clear data. Depending on the size of cache the device has already accumulated, this may vary from a few seconds all the way to a few minutes for the device to clear the cache. Okay, that's basically how we perform the action inside Google Chrome. So now take, for example, we use Firefox as our main driver. So let's go to Firefox, and then we can see the button over here that looks like books, which is tagged together. So click on this button and go to history and click on the clear recent history. And then tick on the cookies and cache button over here. And then please set the time range to everything in this case. So the site preference and offline website data is optional if you wanted to wipe them off. So we click on OK. Also similar to the Google Chrome, this may take a few seconds all the way to a few minutes. So now we basically completed the preparation to receive update process. So let's take a look at the system view. We first log in into this, enter the site, to the email site, to the web site, and then we will be greeted with this familiar login page depending on the developer's customized login page, of course. So we type in our login details and enter into the system by click on the sign in button down here. So welcome everyone to BuildSpace version 3. We will be greeted with this fresh, mostly white and blue interface for a more contemporary look to complement our upcoming from the few months of idling industry. So we take a look at our new navigation pane, which usually located on the top, now repositioned to the side to give way for a better navigation throughout the system, and also a better working screen real estate as the pane can be minimized to give a bigger viewing area like so. This could be useful when multitasking or viewing multiple complicated data on a single screen. So now we move on to the side over here, which is numbers of project by statuses. These data is laid out nicely in a pie chart and table for percentage and numerical statistics respectively. This is for us to have an idea of real-time movement of the awarded and tender stage based on this particular developer. So now let's take a look at the projects. Say for example that we already decided to participate in a project. So we click on the projects button over here. Okay, over here, we can see the list of projects available. Also the statuses indicated right over here. This is similar to the previous version, which the idea is to give a familiarity for the users to use the system. So let's take a look at these. Cadangan membina sebuah kompleks kilang otomotif berteknologi hijau di Pekan Pahang. So we click on this. And then inside here, we can see the project dashboard, which consists of main information, which we can take a look at it. And then once we agree that this is the project that we wanted to participate, we can move further to download every documents available inside the tender. So how we can do so, we click on the documents over here, go to the tender documents, and then here, take for example, we wanted to download every single drawings that is available for us. So we scroll down and then we can see over here the drawings folder. So what we can do next is we click on open, and then here is list of drawings available for us. We can download either one by one, or we can straight away click on the action button over here and click on the download folder. So everything inside this particular folder is downloaded, as we can see down here, in a zip file. This is to prevent us from missed a download, a drawing or two during this process. So this will take everything easily. Okay, so now we can proceed to perform the submit tender task. So how we can do so is we click on the submit tender button over here, click on this button, and then we can see the status on the right side here. It said submission is incomplete. So how we can rectify this is we go to tender, and in here we can see 3 checklists before the tender is fully submitted. So what we can do now is we take a look at the technical evaluation, because sometimes technical evaluation may be needed to be submitted earlier, because the closing date can be earlier than commercial submission. So let's take a look at the technical submission form first. So this is the form that we need to fill in order for us to be eligible for the evaluation. So let's take a look at the first one. CEO, Managing Director, take for example, have experience more than 10 years. So we just click on the answer. HSE Officer, more than 5 years. Project Manager, more than 10 years. Construction Manager, more than 10 years. ESH Performance Rating, more than 4. Gross Profit Margin, more than 10%, say. liquidity ratio more than 1.25%, and gearing ratio less than 0.75. Take for example, once we finish with entering all of the and answering all of the questions, we can proceed to click save. Then only we can see one of the items inside the checklist is ticked as in and is in green, which is the technical evaluation we just done earlier. So now we proceed with attachments inside for the technical evaluation. So click on the attachment, and then we can see that there are multiple types of attachment here needed to be completed, but the mandatory is only these three. So let's proceed with uploading the company registration, CIDB cert, and also base outline tender program. So we click on choose file, find the company registration, click open, and the CIDB cert, click open, and outline tender program, click open. And then we have everything here lined up, ready to be uploaded. And then we can also proceed to upload every single item down here. And then we can click on upload attachment button. And then wait for a few seconds for the documents to be uploaded. Now we have it. The technical evaluation attachment is already completed. So now this is the most crucial part in tender rate submission, which is to actually putting down the rates inside the BQ documents. So what we can do now is we go to the BQ editor over here. Alternatively, if a contractor have owned the BuildSpace Pro, they can download the eBQ file inside the documents tab inside the tender documents over here. So now let's take a look at the BQ editor. So we click on this one. Okay, now we can see the system has already redirect us into a simplified version of BuildSpace Pro. Okay, now we can see that the bill is already laid out over here. There can be multiple numbers of bills inside these documents, inside this BQ, but for this instance, we only have one number of bill. So let's take a look inside this bill by double clicking on the bill, and then we can observe the element list inside the bill. So take for example, we go to dive in deeper into frame, and then here is the item list for frame. So what we can do now is we input the rates based on the item type. So take for example, for vibrated reinforced concrete grade 35, we tendered for 350 ringgit, take for example, and then we can proceed to enter our price until complete. So then we move on to the reinforcement. Take for example, over here we input the price at 3 ringgit. Down here for 3 ringgit. And for the deformed reinforcement, we prorate everything at 3 ringgit and 30 cents. Take for example, we input 3 and 3.3. Until complete. So in the event of our device got suddenly logged off, or maybe we lost an internet connection, afraid not, all of these pricing will not go on missing or corrupted, because every time we input a price, take for example for formwork, I input 33 ringgit, you can see the system is actually saving the data every time we push enter button. The 3 finish, input the price for frame, and then we also need to completely filling out all the prices inside the bills of quantity, as this is the responsibility for a tenderer to do so. So once finished with that one, we can proceed to print final BQ for our documentation purposes. Say for example here we wanted to print it with price, and then click on print. And then the system will auto generate the BQ for us to print. So we just, like for example, we just price the frame. So we will have the amount over here. If we scroll down to frame BQ, okay, we can see the rates and also the amount is automatically available inside this print ready BQ. Okay, so once we are happy with the tender pricing, we can straight away click on the submit tender button over here. The tender has been successfully submitted. So bear in mind, if we wanted to make amendments on the pricing, we can do so up until the stage where the tender submission is closed. And every time we enter a new submission, the new submission will override the submission that we just did earlier. So in essence, that we can do correction if we already submitted a tender before that. Okay, so we click on the eProject button, we click on the reload button to make sure the price is correct, and then we can proceed to click on the eProject button over here to go back to the eProject. Now we can again go back to submit tender, and in submit tender we can see the status is already submitted alongside the time and date over here. So we further click inside tender to make sure. Now we can see the tender submission checklist is already completed. Okay, we can go to the form of tender. Over here, we can click print to take a look at the form of tender. So the price is automatically filled based on the price that we input inside the tender. You can see over there. So what we can do now is we can print this out, fill in the details, sign, and then provide a chop or seal, and then deliver this form of tender to the developer. So once completed with that, take for example, we wanted to perform a discount. We can so enter this discount over here, and also the proposal for the completion period if we have any. Now, like I mentioned before, the tender pricing can be done on board the contractor's own BuildSpace Pro. So once they completed the tendering using their own BuildSpace Pro, they can proceed to upload their tender rates right over here. Okay, like so. They can also provide an attachment down here if they have any. So that's basically it on how to submit a tender. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the comparison between BQ editor, like we just see just now, and also the BuildSpace Pro, which have a lot more features as compared to the BQ editor. The features that I wanted to highlight the most is inside BuildSpace Pro, we have a tender analysis, and also we have the markup function, which is very useful for a contractor to perform their tender rate submission. And also we have a request for quotation, which in turn will provide a more detailed and more satisfactory rates to be submitted to a tendering submission. So ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our brief session for the introduction to BuildSpace version 4. So now I would like to ask everyone to answer a poll to, in a way, ask whether or not are you interested to know more about BuildSpace Pro So if you still are interested in knowing more about BuildSpace Pro, you can so click on the yes, and then our consultant team will further get in touch with you soon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for casting in your vote. Okay, so we have come to the end of our brief session for the introduction to BuildSpace version 3. We just looked at the preparation to receive the updates. Then we have a peek at our new user interface inside the system. And then we at BuildSpace sincerely hope with the outcome of this presentation is achieved by all attendees today. We really hope the attendees today will brief their management on the new updates. And if you have further inquiries on our new updates, please feel free to send us an email at support@pck.com.my, and we will be available to assist you with with your inquiries. Thank you so much for lending me your ears and spending your time attending this briefing. We wish you all very best of luck for your endeavor and looking forward for a much merrier future together. Happy weekends and please stay healthy. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance this morning. So we hope you again to please stay healthy and have a good day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.